Hi. Have you been having any concerns about taking your child on the autism spectrum on vacation this summer? I was just thinking about this since it's Memorial Day today and a lot of people are starting to plan their summer vacations. And this is something I advise people about a lot. And I would like to throw out a few tips to help you get through the summer season successfully in terms of your vacation plans. And I will make a little caveat that most of my work is with children who have Asperger's syndrome or high functioning autism and are verbal and able to understand, verbal communication. Some of the strategies would work for a nonverbal child as well, but it's mostly geared towards kids who are high functioning. One of the things I suggest first is to adjust your expectations a bit. So, for instance, it usually isn't going to work to do a really fast-paced, busy type of vacation. It's going to be more workable to go, for instance, to one place and stay there and develop a routine in that new place and then return home, rather than go from one place to another, to another, to another. As you know, you're dealing with a child who prefers routine and prefers things to stay the same. Now, you know your child best. There are some children who can do pretty well with moving from place to place, but then even if you do that, you might keep your daily routine about the same, even if you're in a new spot each day. So you might have a certain routine about having breakfast or, what time you get up, and you might do some kind of activity in the morning, and maybe in the afternoon you would swim at a pool, and then in the evening maybe you would stay in wherever your accommodations were and read stories or watch movies. Something where you can keep some routine and structure throughout the day if possible, even if what you're doing each day is in a different place. I think that having some kind of reward system is really helpful, so your child knows that say, for instance, if they have a good morning, they're going to earn maybe some money towards souvenirs, and a good afternoon and a good evening. I wouldn't necessarily have it for the whole day, because that might be unsuccessful for the child. Then if they blow it in the morning and don't have a good morning, then we don't want them to lose their motivation to try again in the afternoon or to try it again in the evening. If you are going to any place such as a large amusement park, and this is specifically for Disneyland or Disney World, but there might be other amusement parks that do this, I would bring a letter with you from an official person like your child's therapist or your child's doctor on letterhead paper stating what their diagnosis is and asking for accommodations, and bring it to guest services. So for places like Disneyland, you can get some special accommodations that let you go first in the line and so forth, so you don't have to wait in line at every ride. I also would suggest, even if you do go to someplace like that, that if possible you have two adults, especially if there's more than one child. Now I realize not everybody has a partner that they're going with, but maybe you have a family member or friend who would accompany you, or even an older teenager from your neighborhood, or a relative that might be able to go with you. That would allow you, especially if you have other children, so that the other children could do one thing and the child with autism could do something else that maybe works better for them, such as maybe go back to the room if they need to, or to do something that's quieter. A lot of vacation type places are very overstimulating for kids on the spectrum, but then the kids who aren't on the spectrum might resent the fact that they have to leave early, or that they can't go to the baseball game because of the noise, because of the child on the spectrum. So if there is a way, if there's more than one child, to have another support person there, I think that can be really helpful. That's of course the best case scenario, and we can't always pull that off, but that's just something to consider if you can do that. And remember just to find ways to keep up structure and routine. You might have a daily schedule for the child of what you're expecting to do that day, maybe written down, or even in pictures, or a little whiteboard you can use to show them what the plan is for the day. And you want to have with you some kind of crisis survival kit, is the way that I think of it. So a crisis survival kit is going to have things in it that are helpful for the child. So for instance, things that are soothing in some way, like maybe it's going to be something to listen to or something to look at or something that's comforting or some snacks. So the kind of thing that you would have, we often think of when we travel with a baby or a toddler, we always have all the right supplies, but if you travel with a child on the spectrum, you want to have some things that they can use that are soothing for them and comforting. And also plan it based on your child's sensory sensitivity. So for instance, if you have a child that hates being out in the sun and is really aversive to sunlight, you probably don't want to plan a beach vacation. Or if you do, you want to make sure that you have hats and a big beach umbrella and a place to go to out of the shade, into the shade, out of the sun. Or if you have a child that's really prone to major meltdowns and tantrums, you have to think twice about whether it's going to work to camp in a tent, because you may not have a place where you can really contain the child if needed, or you may then in that situation be really worried about what the people in the next tent over might be going through if your child's having a tantrum. Keep some of those strategies in mind, and subscribe to my channel if you want some other updates on things to do. I'll be thinking too about other things that are helpful about vacation planning. So thanks for stopping by, and my name is Barbara Lester. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I've been working with kids and teens for almost 30 years.